Get going with today's Q&A interview with ALDO Group's Senior Director of E-commerce Operations, Marc Chretien. Marc, welcome.
Hi, Todd. Thanks. Hi, everybody.
Awesome to have you. Awesome to have you. So before we get going, Marc, I just want to give the audience a little bit of a background on Select, if that's okay with you, just to give them a refresher as to who is introducing and speaking with ALDO here, because vast majority of people know ALDO Group, but still you can cover some of that stuff in a minute. So again, for those of you that may not be familiar or need a refresher about Select, Select helps retailers understand the location-specific demand for a product and how demand is affected by the assortment around it. And this is important because understanding this allows retailers to make smarter decisions about the products they offer their customers, such as how much they buy, where they put it, and where they ship it from. And that's sort of the focus. The where they ship it from is the focus of this conversation today. So the result of all this is optimized inventories, and that'll be a theme you'll hear if you listen to any of our webcasts or webinars before. We're always talking about optimization, and that's the key, the baseline of what we're doing here. The result is optimized inventories throughout the MP&A and fulfillment processes. And we accomplish this through advanced analytics and optimization technology. And as you can see in the upper right quadrant of this slide, that's a representation of a few of our customers. Of course, we have ALDO there, some others such as Urban Outfitters, Kohl's, and Aeropostale. And as a side note, you see by the bottom bullet there, our underlying technology, it's been formally recognized as one of the top 50 greatest innovations to come out of MIT's Artificial Intelligence Lab, alongside others which everyone knows about, such as quantum computing, robotics, and even email. So some pretty cool stuff happening there. We're very proud of that. When we think about inventory optimization, we think about balancing and managing the process and costs of bringing inventory into your stores. You think of a door. You've got stuff coming in and stuff going out, obviously. The question is, for example, what products are we going to offer to our customers? How much inventory do we want to buy, we as in being a retailer? We also think about that need, like I said, to move inventory out of your stores and where you actually put the product to sell. And this is as you can see in this representation here, the whole point of putting this up there is to show you the complexity of what's involved in some of these decisions. And you know what? The question about, where do you put your product? Where do you fulfill it from? How do you know you're fulfilling it from the right location? And the baseline concept with all this is that retailers, in a way, and maybe Marc, you can agree or disagree with this in a minute, are really no longer in control of the consumer buying process. The way that people are buying things is much more erratic and different than it used to be. So that's a theme I'm sure everyone has heard. Being at shop.org this week for a few days, that's another theme that seems to be going around the show also. So like I just illustrated, yeah, sorry, Marc.
I was just going to say, I totally agree, Todd. I think definitely in the day and age, especially in mature market areas too, where we're battling for market share more than just capturing new market growth. So North America, Europe, the new retail challenge is efficient decisions on inventory, and like you also mentioned, the power that's in the customer's hands too. We have to be nimble and flexible to that.
Yeah, it's some scary power. So it's power that hasn't been there until recent years. So the retailers that are winning are recognizing that and adjusting. So I guess that's why we have you on here. So like I just illustrated, retailers have to manage multiple sources of demand. There's growing ways to get product out to customers. It's straining inventories and clouding that ability to see forward, to see through the trees a little bit. And the result, is a few unfortunately negative things such as excess inventory costs, transportation costs, and greater than necessary markdowns, which of course limits margins, right? So this is what we're talking about today, that last mile supply chain challenge. How do you get product to your customer more effectively and profitably? So what we'll cover today, we've talked about this a little bit already, but more specifically, we're going to talk about some of the challenges and opportunities when fulfilling online orders from stores. Again, this is what Marc is here to talk about, why advanced analytics plays a major role in this. And there is a bigger picture at ALDO, but we want you to hear about where we fit in to ALDO Group's fulfillment process right now, and some of the results that are coming out of that in terms of ROI and some of that real business level result that you can hang your hat on and say, hey, listen, this is working for us, and we want to keep it going. So, and of course, like I said, audience questions, we'll take those as we go too. We may not get to all of them, but definitely submit them in the Q&A panel. You should see it in your lower right-hand corner there. All right, Marc, enough of me. Let's get to you here and tell us a little bit about ALDO Group and your role and some of your experience there recently.
Excellent. So yeah, I've been with the ALDO Group for a little bit more than 3 years now in the operations role. I'm focused on the post-purchase experience, so balancing the needs of the company in terms of efficiency and profitability, but also the customer experience as well, and make sure we're delivering something that the customer finds delightful. I've been in, I guess, an e-commerce industry for pretty much all of my career, so about 20 years. In various capacities, development and coding at one point, but managing businesses for a little bit more, the vast majority of that career. And a big portion of my experience was actually in the direct selling industry, which is funny because I find a lot of parallels between that and omnichannel, or the omnichannel evolution that's going on, which is really, facilitating a relationship between digital and brick and mortar and supporting each other with strategies and whether they're marketing and sales oriented or inventory and operations oriented as well. So yeah, that's my role.
Awesome. Yeah, so you have a unique role there too, because you're knee deep in this stuff, but you're also orchestrating everything and directing everyone, literally based on your title, but directing everything to make sure those general operations, no matter what the channel is, are smoothly in this case. And it's funny because this is when I first saw e-commerce in your role, I was thinking, well, that's kind of old school. Is anyone really e-commerce anymore? But the reality is, yes, there is a pure e-commerce part, but I think as we'll illustrate today, the lines are really blurred between what's e-commerce and what's not, right?
Absolutely, and even the term omnichannel too is sort of comes in a favor, out of favor as well. I mean, it's all the same sort of thing. I guess the e-commerce is just there because that's what's, I guess, in the department org chart, but exactly, the philosophy is way more holistic, way more, thinking about all the different channels to get product to customers, right? So
Absolutely. Amen. So let's talk about some of the challenges as it relates to, fulfilling orders in general, fulfilling online orders, and some of the unique issues. I'd love you to talk through this a little bit. We've got a couple, if you recall, we've got a few slides here to kind of illustrate this concept that might be faced by many retailers when fulfilling orders, but maybe you could just kick this off by, summing up some of the challenges at ALDO.
For sure. So I think one of the fundamental beliefs to mention is that ALDO does believe in strong store fulfillment, strong brick and mortar fulfillment. We do have DC fulfillment as well, but we've definitely invested very heavily in store fulfillment. E-com at ALDO is more than 10 years old. I think it started in around 2005. I've not even been there that long. I actually hear through the history, and I fact checked it a little bit, it seems to be true, but the reason store fulfillment actually emerged so strongly, which now is very powerful for us, but in the beginning it was almost a lack of faith of, will people buy shoes online and e-commerce? So that rather than investing and setting up a distribution center for that purpose, they were like, okay, well, let's just leverage a store and see how that goes. And I believe it was a New York-based store, and that quickly blew out, and it was capacity was a problem. But then it became a quick model that they could replicate across the entire store network. And now we are where we are, where we have a large network of really, mini distribution centers that are fulfilling for us and have a lot of benefits for us. So that's fast forwarding. It's a lot of evolution, I guess. It started from, I guess, a bit of skepticism in terms of the opportunity of digital orders going to customers. But the challenges, once that proved very beneficial, the challenges then became more culture-based and more just operations-based about getting, like I said, so many distribution centers, mini distribution centers, which are our stores, just aligned and oriented on the right customer experience and the right operations.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept too, the mini distribution centers. I mean, it's a powerful concept too, especially when you think about the impact of others such as Amazon, right? That may not have those mini distribution centers, and they're obviously succeeding without them, but stores have that. That's been kind of our theme, is that stores have a unique advantage, and it's stores. right?
And I believe, yeah, absolutely. I believe everyone agrees that the real answer is going to be a middle ground, right? I think we're seeing
Right.
investments, by Amazon in brick and mortar presence, like with their Whole Foods acquisition. And I believe that got touted as one of the big, heroes or great elements of their Prime Day this past summer. So I think the true answer is, for the pure retailers, they have to address digital. For the pure digital, they have to address brick and mortar, right? So we're going to land somewhere in the middle. And again, I think ALDO is well on their way, their journey there. And we'll share some of those benefits today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So let's try to conceptualize this in something visual. It's always something we try to do. And and Mark, let's hold hands on this one here and try to walk through. If you think about a simple example, and everyone that's watching right now, this is an extremely simple example. Okay, so what you see here is an online order received from someone in Houston, right? So in this case, what we're trying to walk through here is some of the complexities that can come into fulfilling an order and how it can be done so often in a non-profitable manner, meaning sacrificing that all-important margin. And what ALDO has done here, and what all of our customers using fulfillment optimization are doing is really reclaiming this margin, and it can be done through this process of fulfilling online orders. And I want to show you here what happens in a simple online order, right? You've got a few stores. Sure, maybe because they're relatively close, maybe store one's a little far away. Store two and store three are pretty close to this, so maybe it'd be automatically considering the OMS, the order management system, might automatically consider one of those stores, sure. But what about store four, which is looks like up in the Boston area up there? It's way far away, maybe equally as far as store one, but and it might be shunned in a way, right, Mark, because it's far away. So maybe it wouldn't be considered in a traditional sense.
And really, just to jump in there, in a way, it shouldn't anymore. Like, I think the transportation network is very advanced as well, and I think customer expectations, yes, players like Amazon or others are putting an emphasis on speed, but you see a lot of articles out there that free beats fast, right? So still, don't be discouraged by giving a good customer opportunity if you can get the product to them in 2, 3, 4 days. Because if you're offering them free shipping and it's profitable for you, it's still a very palatable opportunity for the customer, right? So that Boston store is definitely still within that window, given the transportation opportunities that we have.
Exactly, and what we want to show everyone out of this is why actually that Boston store may be a hidden gem in this case, as far as being the most profitable way of shipping this order, when you may think it may be store 2 or 3. So this is how, again, this is a very simplistic example, taking a few simple rules that an order management system might use. So, right, it uses one rule at a time. Rule 1 is, can you even complete the order? So store 2 can't complete the order, store 3 can complete the order, store 1 can complete the order, so we've got a couple potential winners there, and store 4 can complete the order. Great, so that rules out store 2. Let's look at them again now, looking at a tiebreaker rule or a simple second rule. What's closer to the customer? Store 4 loses big time on that because it's farther away. Store 1 loses. Store 3, that wins because you've got 2 check marks. Rule 1 and rule 2 are satisfied. Store 2 can't fulfill it to begin with. So an OMS might say, hey, let's fulfill it from this store because it is closer when it's weighing those transportation fees, right? But like what Mark was just saying, that may not be the bigger picture story here.
Yeah, I think, and before you go maybe to the next slide as well, exactly, in the evolution of our discussion, this naturally came out, right? As we were seeing, our fulfillment network across all our stores, and this is a simple example, it's only got 4. For us in the North American space, it's 700 stores, 700 plus stores. So you get a lot of opportunities and a lot of variables to manage. And in doing a simple model like this, we naturally, the questions ask themselves. At the end of the season, you're like, wow, I really sold out of my product in, let's say, Texas region. And it's such a shame because I had leftover product in Illinois, as an example. Or so naturally the questions almost emerged, or the opportunities really emerged, because you saw that if I had only had the inventory in a better place at a better time, or at the right time, I could have made more transactions or incurred less markdowns, given away less discounts.
Right, and in the end, it's about understanding that demand, and that's the core concept I think we want to show here. And now if we say, okay, that we've got the before and after type thing here. So with some optimization in the mix, so with the order management system still in there, executing the orders and the workflow and such, but a little optimization in the background here. What you're doing is managing multiple goals or considering multiple goals balanced in real time for every order, no matter if it's 10 orders a minute or 10,000 orders a minute or whatever it might be, while considering all stores and the demand at each store. That's the key. So in this case, we've got 4 different things, and this may not have been. And this is not saying, Mark, that these are the things that you guys looked at, maybe some actually, but these are 4 maybe relatively common goals that a retailer might want to consider when fulfilling an order. And again, we're doing this in real time for every order, not one at a time for every order, but looking at all these together at once for every store. And for store 2, for example, we've got a low chance of split shipment, it's close to the customer, low in-store demand, is a low chance of pick decline. So that makes it moderately interesting as a potential option. And we've got store 3 here. Again, we're weighing all those options. This one is sort of moderate too, right? It's got high in-store demand, so that kind of pulls it away from being a store that's interesting to fulfill the order from, because the last thing you want to do in an order fulfillment situation, if you're using a store, is to pull a product that has high demand in store, because you're sacrificing huge amounts of margins there. And when that's done over thousands of orders, we're talking big money as far as the amount that can be reclaimed if you're doing this correctly. And so we'll just finish off the other stores here to say, okay, we're balancing all these stores, looking at them, and look at store 4. What do you know? It's the winner because it's got the lowest in-store demand, meaning there's products that are going to sit on the shelves and perhaps go into markdown. Let's get them off the shelves and avoid that markdown and fulfill that online order. And maybe a little farther, like Mark was saying earlier, you may incur a little bit of a higher shipping cost, but in the end, what we're doing again is avoiding markdown units. We're increasing that full price sell-through, and that dollar benefit between the markdown and the sell-through, the full price sell-through for those items, is what far outweighs that extra cost of shipping. And this is a concept, and Mark, correct me if you feel differently, but I don't think you do. This is a concept that isn't quite being fully grasped across retail at the moment, and it's really important because there's lots of margin being left on the table.
Absolutely. I think, for anybody that has a product that they would consider like depreciates or has the risk of depreciating over time, right. Obviously for us, fashion is so trendy or so, all balanced by seasons, right? So if you don't get it out in that right season, you've missed the opportunity. But I can imagine, technology as well, because there's always the next wave of technology that's going to come across that has the risk of, depreciating your inventory. Really anything that has that risk, you can't understate that bullet that says high in-store demand. The indicators, really that's, to me, in my mind, and where I think we get most passionate about it is us exploring how can I best predict that in-store demand. And that's where a lot of the great conversations with Select have gone, because the better that I can predict the demand, the right demand in the right store, the better I have the chance of making the best fulfillment decisions, because then I can protect the hot stuff in the hot stores, and I can move out the cold stuff in the cold stores. And that goes back to your point about getting more conversions, more margin out of every transaction.
Excellent points. So let's move back to some of the questions here and keep this rolling. So, considering analytics and advanced analytics, what role do you see them playing at ALDO Group? I mean, obviously we're talking about fulfillment optimization here, and we can stay within those boundaries here, but how, considering what we're doing with you guys, the assumption can be made pretty quickly that you value advanced analytics, but talk a little bit further about that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's, I was reflecting on sort of like there's 2 culture changes that you sort of need to have. And one is the culture change within an organization to embrace store fulfillment, and I'm willing to, and we'll talk about that a little bit more because that did come up in some of the user questions.
Yes, it did.
Is you have to, have that confidence, and I'm here to say it is achievable, it's definitely beneficial. And then the second culture change I would say that's significant at the ALDO Group was the embracing of advanced analytics. So we now recognize that, what was before, maybe especially in fashion, much more heavily influenced by art, there is actually science in there, and there's a science opportunity now that data availability is so much more present. through technology. So that's not to say we've completed our journey. I would say we're well, we're on that journey, but we've got pockets of, either really good data, really good technology that's bringing the data and giving us open to the advanced analytics opportunity, and then pockets of technology that, it would be great if that piece plugged into that piece properly, but it doesn't yet. So we're still going through an evolution of changing the technology, across the whole, I guess, supply chain spectrum, and even all the way to store transactions and our other digital assets too. But the culture change is what is passed, and so now it's just a matter of project planning everything so that you get everything connecting properly and humming together well to take most advantage of advanced analytics.
So when you first were looking at these, maybe you weren't out there looking at quote unquote advanced analytics solutions, but when you were examining different options, I guess, what prompted you to look at these, and then what brought you closer to Select?
Yeah, it's funny. Like I mentioned, it really was the evolution, right? We sort of saw as we were doing store fulfillment, as we overcame the capacity issues or the right culture changes to make sure that store fulfillment was beneficial to us, the questions asked themselves. So we started to see, like I mentioned, that sort of hot seller, opportunity, because we have certain pockets of our stores saying, I'm fulfilling all these orders, but there's stuff that's really hot selling for me too. And then, a quick analysis, and we would see, look at all these other stores that have that inventory. It's such a shame that the system, because of the basic sort of OMS logic that comes out of, foundational OMS, doesn't necessarily have that advanced part. And then similarly, we would see it again at the end of the season when we would do sort of our recall process, and we would consolidate inventory that's left over. And we would say, wow, there's a lot of wasted leftover inventory, and wouldn't it have been nice if we had that on the East Coast instead of the West Coast, or the North versus the South? Mm-hmm. So the questions came out naturally, but we realized, that was all like hindsight analysis. And what we needed was the ability of, at that OMS decision, how can we insert that decision making like real time or near real time? That was the opportunity.
Yep. Makes sense. So while you were evaluating that, what was the process like? How long did it take? Where did you even start with this kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, Select wasn't the first consideration for sure. We weren't even aware of, each other at the time. We started with our OMS, and this is not to point fingers at any particular OMS. We did a good vetting process, through industry conferences as well. This was a common question that we would ask and share knowledge with other retailers, other collaborators, or even competitors out there. And through reference calls, through checking, I guess one of the keys or benefits of Select, and why I'm happy to speak positively about it today, is their system was production ready. I think we all, hopefully, if I've done an okay job of discussing things, or you and I, Todd, have done discussing things, understand the logic that's there. But it's one thing to say hindsight logic, like we're saying, and it's another to have a technology that is production ready, real time ready. And when I mean production ready too, it was like ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday environment also, right? And that was really, for us anyway, it might vary for each one of the people on the phone depending on where your peak season is. But we knew that if we can get through peak with having the technology in place, then we were good for 365 days out of the year. So that really is how it happened. It was through executive contacts that as we were going through the vetting process, quite passively, but then we got to the Select call, and really the collaborative nature of our discussions, obviously the passion for the technology, which comes through from the Select side, but the tolerance and the patience also of us asking our questions and making sure that we could get our concerns, especially our peak capacity concerns understood, was very collaborative. And we started with a pilot program. That was our first year, and again, getting through peak season with great zero downtime, which is amazing, and really zero even order processing lag, which we could speak to that a little bit later, which is amazing, and that gave us the confidence to pursue into the relationship we have now.
Right, that's a throughput thing there, and that's very important, right? And last thing, the last thing, no matter how advanced your analytics are, the last thing you want to do is, cause any lag or any type of performance degradation when, especially in a Black Friday situation. So that's awesome. That's great. So let's talk a little bit about, you did bring up the OMS angle, and the audience may be asking themselves right now, all right, how does this even fit in? Like, where does Select sit? Is it replacing something? Is it working with something? I figured we could talk through this. We've got a couple slides that will help illustrate this. And Mark, if you want to jump right into that, or if you want to speak to it first.
No, I think the next slide
Yeah.
will put the visual helps a lot.
So this is basic, right? This is basic.
Yeah, exactly. I think the very simple flow, right? All the orders come in, and it was important. I gave some feedback to Todd in terms of the slide. We put all digital orders, so to make sure that everyone is, aware of the opportunity. It's not just e-com, right? So for us, as an example, and I'm sure many other players do, we have an in-store order capturing opportunity. So you walk into a store, we don't exactly have the right size, but you try on another color, and you now have the confidence that, okay, I like the size, I know the fit's right. So now I'll place an in-store order for that color, for the right color, the one that I wanted. So it's a save the sale kind of opportunity, but it's a digital order that then gets fulfilled by this exact same network. And so whether it's through a mobile app or your e-com or these in-store order opportunities, all these digital orders become eligible for this kind of select optimization, or for some sort of optimization. In this flow, all these digital orders just go through OMS. And you are able to do some level of rural fulfillment, usually transportation related, like distance related. So that does optimize the transportation concern, but we were unable to, move that to a multi-variable environment, like you saw in our simple illustration before, where the decision could be balanced across many different variables, like in real time.
So let's now, considering all that you just said here, let's look at slightly adjusted picture here. Maybe Mark, you could just take this. It's not even that much more complex, but it shows you the interaction between Select and the OMS, right?
Absolutely, and I think it speaks to the simplicity of the integration point. So really, the feeds that go from OMS, it's not just OMS, but let's say us, the ALDO to Select is really data and the integration with OMS. Those are the main two touch points. We're feeding data for them to consume to be able to do the analysis of what is the best decision. And then the real-time integration is just around, okay, OMS saying, I have this order, what do you want me to do? Select does like I said, the multi-variable calculation in real time and returns answers in split seconds. And this is true, as I mentioned before, even for our Black Friday, Cyber Monday environment, where we had, about 350,000 units going through in about a 4-day span. And I really did the quick math, and it came out actually kind of interestingly. It's about a unit a second, so which doesn't sound super impressive when you break it down for seconds, but it's quite amazing when you consider like every second another unit, another decision. So you have to have decisions in less than a second, otherwise you're going to get a backlog, right? And so that's part of I think what's a testament to Select technology, which is not just the software, the logic, but also the hardware.
Excellent. So let's dig into, let's move away from tech and hardware stuff, and let's talk about the impact it's had on your business with whatever you can share, Mark, in terms of ROI.
Yeah, I think, again, speaking to the great discussion or the flexibility or the collaboration between us and Select as we were sort of defining the pilot, we really, it's an expression that I've heard a few times, we really challenged them in terms of, we didn't want black box technology. The new phrase is glass box, right? We really wanted to be able to understand, how the decisions were being made, what's going on, and really quantify the benefits there. So it was a good discussion, heated at times, I'm sure, because I guess the Select team is so much more immersed in the science and they understand. But in the end, we got to a great place where we quantify the benefits, we understand what's there. We're pushing them now more for, can we introduce more variables into the algorithm to make the demand prediction even better, right? What it boiled down to for us was really the big benefit driver is from incremental conversions. So like I mentioned, that order volume is flowing through. And in that order volume, if you can decide, instead of picking store number 1, I'll pick store number 4, I should be able to see an incremental conversion because of that decision. And we set up a 5-week time frame, and it's essentially we were able to track the incremental transaction that had in store number 1 because I chose store number 4. So that's really the big driver of our benefits. We see, about a 6-to-1 ROI benefit in terms of the program itself, and it comes out to be like a 12% incremental opportunity across our digital orders. So 12% of the time, or up to 12% of the time, it varies depending on the, we analyze every 2 weeks, but up to 12% of the time, we saw that we would have made a less optimal decision, and very likely lost a sale. That means we would have pulled inventory out of a store, and instead we allowed an incremental transaction. So across our digital orders volume, we saw 12% opportunity about making, or the potential of making the wrong decisions, and instead we're making the right one.
Right, and like you said before, like we talked about earlier, that adds up, right? Every single order, and that order per second, if you're not making that optimized decision, you're losing lots of margin, right?
Absolutely. And that's not even to go into some of the other benefits too, which are the transportation benefits. You can optimize. For us, it was less of an indicator because for us, our product is quite standardized. When you think about footwear, it's all roughly the same size. But I can imagine for different product portfolios, there could be a variance there. So there might be a transportation optimization factor that would be more significant for other players too. We still get some benefits because at the end of the season, we are recalling less. We're consolidating less of the leftover stock. The big driver was the incremental conversion, but transportation can certainly probably speak to a lot of other people as well.
Yep. Awesome. So let's get to a few, like I promised, we're getting towards the end. And I wanted to make sure we get in a few questions that were submitted way early on, like weeks ago, to those that thought a little bit early on some of the questions. I want to recognize that. So let's get to the first one, Marc. Okay, I'm going to leave these for you here to answer. And this is directed to you. What challenges did you face with store teams when adopting fulfillment from store? And the store teams thing is an interesting angle that we haven't really covered yet.
Yeah, I think I sort of threw it out there at the beginning as saying like we've overcome that hurdle, and it's like sort of a fundamental statement for us. But definitely, I understand that everyone else has got to go through that process themselves. I would say I boiled it down to 3 points really. One is the adoption of the culture of one customer. I think, and speaking to something you said at the beginning, Todd, with there is no one customer, one channel anymore. The customers have the power. They do their research online, then they show up in store. They show up in store, then they go buy online. So you have to just overcome that. And I think store environments do recognize that as well, because they see the customer reaction. Also they see them on their phones. They see them saying, "Oh, okay, I'm going to go do some more research online." So they know now that it's an omni-channel customer. So once you get past that and you realize let's all work together as a team, you really get the opportunity of ironing out the operations part. That's really, I'd love to say it's something more complicated, but it's not. It's really just a lot of culture change and collaboration. You do have to monitor it though, of course, and it becomes more challenging. A distribution center environment, and we still use distribution centers for specific needs. So that will always be a mix for us, but we are, around the 80 to 90% of our fulfillment comes out of stores, and we're at the 10 to 20% from a distribution center, which is often a shocking number. But we've, like I said, fully adopted this, and we'll push that 90% even more in the coming year. And again, really, distribution center becomes value-added services and other niche opportunities. But we fully believe in store fulfillment. So it just becomes a matter of managing the speed and managing the quality. And it's easy to manage in a distribution center environment, the quality of the fulfillment, but you can do that in stores as well. It takes more reporting, it takes more collaboration with the sales structure, the sales team. But if you equip them, you put in the right mechanisms to sort of monitor quality, monitor the speed, monitor the time, you can activate that team quite easily, and it becomes you're just chasing the few rare exceptions and for the majority of the time, the system runs right along quite well. I'll even throw out really quickly, I'm including Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and in fact, our store network outperforms a distribution center environment for us because just simply the size, right? So we run into distribution center problems where it's like, even if we want to run like overnight shifts, so 3 shifts in a day, we physically run out of space in our distribution center. We can only staff so many people in that space. Whereas if I think of our store network, if I add on just one more person per store and we have like a 700 store network, it's like having a distribution staff of 700 plus 700 people, and that's only one person each. So the speed is really impressive. It's very compelling in terms of the opportunity, and then it's just reporting that stays on top of it. And the last challenge I would say is inventory accuracy. We're still fighting through that now. Obviously, when a product is sitting through a store or in a distribution center environment, it goes untouched. It's very high quality product. It gets handled more in store. So it's not so much that it goes missing, but we have to find new mechanisms now in our technology of equipping, a grade, like a quality of the product factor in. And that, of course, coming to future discussions with Select, will be another variable that we'll want to introduce into the model so that they can then balance, let's say, A grade quality, B grade quality, C grade quality into the algorithm so that they're making, again, an optimal decision for fulfillment.
So how many, I think you did touch on this earlier, but how many stores are fulfilling orders? You did give a rough number. I think you said 600 or 700, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's really almost all of them. There's very few exceptions. So everyone that has the right backstore space to be able to have what we call a shipping station, which is not much bigger than a desk size, is equipped to do that. So I would say well over the 95%. There's a few exceptions, like I mentioned, a few remote regions. Our stores in Hawaii don't participate, but actually we are turning them on very soon because they're going to participate just amongst themselves. It doesn't make sense to ship inventory back from Hawaii back to the mainland, back and forth, but they will have their own little fulfillment network. And then we're also going to pursue mainland into Hawaii as well. But those are just niche exceptions. Definitely 95% plus is of our stores are involved. And I mentioned the stat already too, the fulfillment that comes, sorry, I jumped the gun a bit, I guess a little bit. So yeah, we're pushing around the 88 to 89, 90% mark in terms of percentage of fulfillment that comes from our stores. And that we expect to continue all year round. Even like I mentioned, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where the gut feeling may be, okay, let me leverage our DCs again. No, we want that product to be in stores. It's a brick and mortar event that weekend. And so there's just as much likelihood of someone buying that product out of the store as there is a digital customer. So again, it comes down to that one customer culture philosophy. So I want that product where it's visible to everybody, not just only visible to one channel.
So what do you recommend? Supplying online orders from store directly or a separate warehouse? This again was a question from an audience member.
Yeah, and I touched on that as well.
Yep.
Obviously, heavily, I drank the Kool-Aid for store fulfillment, so I'm heavily supportive of that. DC fulfillment for us still has a need, and it could have a need for many of the other people, I guess, on the phone also. Maybe you decide based on your product portfolio, right? Maybe the products that are eligible for easy store fulfillment are the ones you could entertain for optimization. And then DC becomes more specialized for different products, have a high weight, high volume kind of product in terms of size. That's what I meant by volume. But in terms of, other niche programs, drop shipping programs, those things lend themselves, value-added services, those gift wrap packaging, those things lend themselves more to DC fulfillment. So we have a balance between the both.
Got it. Perfect. So let's wrap all this up here. Very often I'll create the takeaways just as a summary of the slides, but in this case, Marc, you and I, well, actually you created these. So would love to have you kind of, close things out from your perspective as far as what everyone can take away from all this and from your experience at ALDO using Select.
For sure. I think, these takeaways kind of wrote themselves because they're identify, or they're just a recap of conversations that I have when I'm at industry conferences and stuff, just with colleagues or collaborators or competitors or other partners in the industry. So one is, everyone I think agrees that there's inventory challenges, again, especially in those mature markets, North America, Europe, where just ever expanding growth. So if you've been asking yourself, I wish I had more of the right product in the right place, or how do I get more margin out of my product? Those are the challenges that are, many companies are coming around to, and therefore lend themselves to this kind of an opportunity. I guess the second one is, once you're past that, then you're like, okay, I have to get my store network engaged, operationalized. And so you need alignment with that group. That goes, again, more to, it's not a magic technology there, that's a culture thing. And it's not just on the store operation side too. The executive group has to be aligned, and even the e-commerce side too as well. I mean, on our e-commerce business, we also agree to share our inventory. When we have best sellers that the stores run out of, e-com runs out of it as well. But we all agree that it's fine. It's one company, and it's best for the one company to sell through our inventory as fast as possible, not just one channel versus another channel. So you need that alignment across the organization. And then lastly, trying to leverage the learning that we did as it evolved over time. You will naturally get to the place where you want to say, I have, advanced analytics type questions or opportunities. And so you may as well just cut to the chase and get, sort of plug into an advanced analytics opportunity right there, because otherwise you'll be left with the same kind of questions like we had, which was, it's too bad I had stock left over on the East Coast, I need it on the West Coast, or vice versa. So that's where you realize you need some advanced analytics technology to make the right decisions in real time, not only wait for the, the hindsight analysis after the fact to realize you missed out on certain opportunities.
Awesome. Well said. Well said. So thank you for everyone's time today. And Marc, you've been fantastic. Thank you for being here and taking an hour, way more than that, out of your day and out of your time preparing. Like I said before, the slides can be found on SlideShare in the next day or so. If you want to learn more about some of the stuff Marc is talking about, you can go to select.com/fulfillment-optimization. You can also, if you'd like, just follow this Drift link here. I don't think you can click on it from where you are, but we will send this out or Jessica, I think, will put it into chat right now, and you'll be in the email that we send out to you. If you want to have a quick conversation with one of our specialists about how this can help you based on your unique business and some of your unique challenges, we'd be happy to do that. We do that all the time. And you can go to drift.me/Evanc, EVANC, and someone will be there right with you to schedule that 15-minute evaluation. So like I said before, the slides will be found on SlideShare. We will send something out to you the next 24 to 48 hours along with the recording, so you can revisit this as much as you want, and really dive into some of those interesting things that Marc has been talking about for the past 45 minutes. So Marc, again, thank you so much. It's awesome to have you here.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Jessica.